And we're live! Yay!
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome to the CosCast episode 33. And this time we will be talking about cosplay stories with our very special guest, Kanuto Cosplay.
Hey.
Ah.
Yes, as usual, I am your main host, Pixie Dust Cosplay, and with me I have my two helping hosts, I guess.
Annabella cosplay.
And Yasia Cosplay.
Hello.
Hello.
All of us are having a lazy Sunday today, so none of us have really made a big effort to dress up, except Anastasia. She put on a wig and makeup and everything, so she's today. But I am currently sick on my second month or so, so you will just have to excuse me if I'm gross or cough or anything during this episode. Yes, so let's start as usual with cosplay progress. Have we done anything cosplay related this week? Why don't you take it away, Annabella?
No, I've been sleeping.
It is the time of year for sleeping and being exhausted.
Yes, I think I should have been a bear because I need to just sleep. And I would love to do that all the time. That would have been a perfect world for me. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, cosplay gods. I have not been a good cosplayer this week.
Yes, you'll be punished accordingly later, I assume. And yes, yeah, how about you?
Pretty much the same. Just working and sleeping and watching Crunchyroll. Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. Kanuto?
Yeah. I was sick a few days, so I actually did get a few things done, mostly just painting. I actually think I showed some of this in like the last episode.
Yeah, the shoe.
Yeah, the shoe has not been painted. There's been made a shield and everything, but at the same time as I started watching or playing Witcher again, I completely fell in love with the enchanted version of the School of the Bear armor. So now I'm like, I should totally make that instead. Screw this costume. Gosh.
It is a cosplayer's curse. That happens so often.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, well, I ordered my first like mannequin today, so hopefully it will be arriving this week, which means that I will be able to start actually making the mock-up for my Arwen dress. So I'm really excited about that.
Me too.
So finally, after like talking about this dress for like half a year, I'll actually be able to start making it. So that's nice. And I started organizing my office space. So I've put fabrics in one shelf and supplies and tools in another one. So it's very neat and organized. So I'm very happy about that.
It won't last.
No, it won't. It never does. But when I have to try to control the chaos and mayhem. Either that or my dust allergies will kill me eventually. So yeah, a little bit of progress at least. So let's move on to cosplay news. We have a few this week. And the first one is that today at House of Nerds, they hosted their very first House of Cosplay event. Woo! Yay! And none of us were able to attend, unfortunately, because, well, we were sleeping and we're tired and sick and exhausted.
I forgot it.
Yeah, and you forgot. So it was a workshop hosted by Teresa's Cosplay and the Fuzzy Teddy Inn. Two very, very talented cosplayers. So if any of you watching today happened to attend the workshop, we would be really pleased if you let us know what you learned and what happened at this event, because it seems like a very awesome thing.
They're gonna do it again later, so I'm sure I'm gonna try to get one of those workshops sooner or later. One day.
It's a good idea. I'm glad House of Nerds is including cosplay into their programs.
Yes.
Yes. I think Celia Danielson actually intended to go today, so we could always try to talk to her a little bit and ask her how it was. And Annabella, you happened to read an article that was released earlier this week about the new TTP draft.
Yes, I haven't really read it, but it says that will the TPP copyright provisions hurt homemade Halloween costumes and cosplay? So I was like, what? Because it was posted on the Replica Prop forum on Facebook. And it's an interesting article, and people should absolutely read it, especially if you're planning to use your cosplay, to sell, to go to parties and stuff like that. It may get consequences.
Yeah, basically, if you're going to try to make a living or earn money off of cosplay props or cosplays in general or fan art, for example, this could possibly affect you if it becomes a thing. So we will put a link to that article in our show notes when we finish this episode, so people can read it and be prepared for what might actually happen out there.
Yes.
Boo. Yes, boo. We don't like that. Not one bit. But most likely it won't affect most cosplayers. It'll probably mostly affect people who actually make a real living off of copyrighted merchandising.
Yes.
So we'll
This
see.
is
Yeah, so I think that's pretty much everything we had for news today. So we'll move on to our main topic, which is cosplay stories. And yes, so like most of our viewers would know, we recently had our very first official CosCast contest, where we asked our viewers to send in their best cosplay related stories. They could be funny, they could be sad, they could, be sweet, whatever. And Yuna, Kanuto Cosplay, won that competition. We didn't really know that it was Kanuto before afterwards, like, oh my god, that's her! And realized, oh, she's been on the show before. What? So it was kind of a happy accident, I suppose, to have you back again. That's really nice.
It's lovely to be back.
So a lot of people sent in their stories, and there were a lot of fun ones and a lot of good ones, but yours was really sweet, and it made us all go, "Aw." So that's why we figured that we would invite you back on the show and have you tell the story to our viewers so they could understand why we chose your story as the winner. So do you want to go ahead and just tell your story?
Yeah, I guess. That's why I'm here, I think.
I would say so.
Actually, it happened a few years ago. There was going to be a carnival in the kindergarten that I was working in. And I was actually debating what costume to make, because I was considering a Disney princess or something to make an impression on the kids. Because I was like, okay, I know my way around costumes. I might as well make something that they will find relatable. And eventually, I actually ended up with thinking, what would I, as a kid, what would have been the coolest thing that could come to the kindergarten? And I eventually ended up with, it would be cool if Kaptein Sabeltann showed up.
For our English-speaking audience, that's Captain Sabretooth. He's a Norwegian children's television hero.
the most famous pirate in Norway.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So I started getting all the things I needed. It was really quick. It was not a very well-made costume because after work I was tired, and I think I put it together in 2 days. So it's not exactly something I would show up to a costume competition with, but you could see who it was, and that was yeah, that's good enough, right? So the thing is that I actually met up in the kindergarten with my Captain Sabretooth costume. And everything went fine. There were lots of kids that were like, yeah, cool, that's so awesome. And it was like, yeah, that's great. And then eventually there was this one little kid who came in with his dad because when there was the carnival in the kindergarten, suddenly everything was upside down. So it was a little bit terrifying to go in on his own. So his dad had to join him in. And he just stopped in the door at the second he saw me, and he just like got these really big eyes, and it was just like he completely froze. And I was like, shit. I hadn't even considered that there was kids that thought Captain Sabretooth was scary. But it like at the same time it's like, of course someone might find him scary. And that was like my immediate conclusion that that is what is happening. He's scared. And then I looked at his dad, and his dad had like the biggest smile and was just like, as if like his favorite football team won the whatever, and just like, and I was, what? So I was really confused about the situation myself, but like I tried to look to the kid and like, what do you want me to do? And like when he was getting shy, he sort of started hiding behind his dad. So I was like, okay, that's my cue to go. So I just like sort of hid in a different department of the kindergarten where I was supposed to be anyway. And I didn't see the kid much more. I was sort of slightly avoiding the situation.
Understandable.
I wasn't sure. And then when I actually got in on break, people like just turned and just had like this big smile when I walked in, and they were like, "You made someone's day, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, it was fun." And they were like, "You heard the story, right?" Heard the story? Yeah, of the little one in the tiger costume. The one who was terrified. He wasn't terrified. And I was like, he was not? Wait, what? Okay. Like me just going back up. Full story, please. And apparently, starting on the Monday, or like the week before actually, when when they had been informed that there were going to be a carnival in the kindergarten, this specific little boy had been asking his parents if they could invite Captain Sabretooth to the carnival.
Oh.
And they had said no. They couldn't call him because he probably didn't have a phone. He was probably busy. They couldn't send like a bottle with a note because it probably wouldn't reach him. He was probably off in the Caribbean, mugging someone, doing pirate things. So like every day for a full week, they had to make like excuses as to why he couldn't come and prepare the child the best way they could that he wouldn't be there.
Oh.
So the child was like, he was prepared for the fact that there wasn't going to be a black pirate, there wasn't going to be any Captain Sabretooth. And the first adult he met that actually worked in kindergarten was the Captain Sabretooth that just was like, morning. So apparently, like, the big eyes and like shock was apparently his mind was just blown.
His dream coming true right there in the hallway.
Yes, and it was so weird because apparently I helped that happen, having no knowledge of my involvement whatsoever, and it was such a weird feeling because I was like, oh, well, if I knew that, thinking to myself, I didn't say that out loud, but well, if I known that, I probably wouldn't have been like completely avoiding the room where I knew he was.
Well, yeah, you would have probably gone in there and like put in a little bit of a performance or something.
Probably. There's a good chance that I would have made something a bit more of myself. But the thing was that a few months later, actually, they invited my Captain Sabretooth back to the kindergarten because they had, actually it's a very common thing to have in the kindergarten, it's like a pirate fest. So basically there was this big boat in the kindergarten, so the kids didn't know Captain Sabretooth would be there. Some of the adults knew, not everyone. So basically there was like both kids and adults just going, wait, what? When they like introduced like, and to introduce our activity, we have Captain Sabretooth. I walk off like I own this place.
That is so funny.
I told them what they were gonna do and everything, and basically like all the kids, it took them a while. Like even though it was just a few months since they'd seen me, it took them quite a few months. Like it took them a while to realize that it was me. Eventually they were like, wait a second, we know you.
There's something familiar about this pirate.
Yes.
And the thing was that the same little boy eventually did come up to me when I was dressed as Captain Sabretooth again. And he like said my name, and he said, I know it's you. And it's okay, because it's okay that you are Captain Sabretooth, because you're sort of different, but you're like a hero in your everyday day, so it's okay that you can be my hero for a day. Like, I can borrow Captain Sabretooth's persona because I was
Because
okay.
you're cool, so it's
I was
okay.
cool enough. Someone else apparently wouldn't do. So that was like, oh, thank you, adorable little 3-year-old who I will not mention. You will go by Tiger.
So yeah, you accidentally made someone's day, basically.
Yeah. There were probably like a lot of others that thought it was really cool that Captain Sabretooth was there, but there was no one who I don't think it affected them as much as it affected him, and it was an amazing feeling to like hear how big of a role cosplay actually can have on someone else.
Yeah, positively.
Yes.
You can use cosplay everywhere. You don't have to go to a convention to, show off your awesome work. It's awesome that you can bring your hobby, what you love, to your job and make a difference for someone.
Absolutely. It's kind of like when Eniasia wears her Merida cosplay out and about in also Centrum. Little girls and boys like, oh my god, it's the girl from Brave, it's Merida. Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of fun watching their perplexed expressions. Like, oh, it's Brave.
Yeah, it's the utter shock replaced by joy afterwards. Probably one of the reasons why we chose your stories, because it's not something that necessarily changed your life or was awkward or anything, but it's something that was really positive, that had a positive effect on someone else because of the cosplay. So we really like that. And also, we want to continue talking about cosplay stories because we had a few that we want to share with you that we just thought were really funny or really cute. And Annabella, why don't you pick one that you can talk about that you liked?
We have gotten a lot of cool stories, and there's one story about this girl. Her name is Nikita, and she went with her friends to the Sukan 10, and she had been wearing a cosplay the whole day and got tired of it, so she changed to her normal clothes, and she and some friends were out eating or something. On their way back, they found this huge tree branch, or small tree as she calls it, because it kind of looks like a small tree. It's bigger than the girl. And she brought this tree back to the convention, and the guards were like, is this part of your cosplay? Who are you cosplaying? And she just made up some weird name, and yeah, this branch is part of my cosplay. Yeah. So she actually got to bring it inside the convention, and they were partying with this little tree and dancing with it and raving with it. So they had a really, really good time with a branch.
And I think she also mentioned that the guards were talking about them having to put a new rule into effect. That you cannot bring trees or branches into the convention area unless it is explicitly part of your costume.
Yes. Which in this case, it wasn't really.
No, it was not. Definitely not. So yeah, we thought that was really funny.
She also posted some pictures of it as proof.
Yes. So we kind of liked that. Breaking the rules, cosplay style.
She didn't hurt anyone, so, and
No.
she did not break this tree branch herself. They found it on the street. That's the only reason they took it with them.
It was already
So,
broken.
yes,
Yeah. All right. Uh, and Yasia, do you have a favorite story that you want to talk about? Of the ones we've received?
I think Aniasia just popped out.
Oh, yes, it seems like she did. Okay, well, I can talk about one of them. And this is, I think, a problem that many people like dream of or dread. When you walk up on stage and you're afraid that, oh my God, I heard something bad is probably going to happen when it's my turn. You keep thinking, what if I fuck up, or what if something happens when I'm on stage? And that happened to one of our viewers. His name is, let's see, what was his name?
Fredrik.
Fredrik, yes. He's also known as Seretur Alion Creations.
Oh.
And he won a contest, I believe. Yes, he got third place at Cultmania 2015 in Sandefjord. And he was really, really happy. But when he walked up on stage, he did this happy cheer pose, and the little bag of Cool Morph that he had won, that was put inside a roll of Warbler, ruptured. And so all these little Cool Morph pebbles just, scattered all across the stage. And it was really awkward. So he just picked up the bag and left the stage. It was like, awkward.
No. Please.
So the convention volunteers were collecting little cool morph marbles from the stage area afterwards. So a good thing that the stage was covered in fabric, so they hadn't scattered everywhere. They were kind of easy to find at least.
Get the vacuum cleaner.
Yes. Well, one would be very, very tempted to get the vacuum cleaner. So yeah, that was Fredrik's story. We thought it was very hilarious, and I think we could all relate to, dreading that moment of, oh my God, why me?
The good thing about that is when you have experienced something like that, you know how it feels to, feel a little bit stupid, and then maybe it isn't as bad to think about if something like that should have happened again.
Yes.
It isn't as bad as you imagine it in your head.
Mm. Yeah, I think so too. Once you've been through it once, it's probably not going to be as bad the next time it happens, or you won't fear it as much because you survived. It's not that bad.
It's important to be the first person to laugh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Laugh at yourself before anyone else can. That's very important. I live by that rule.
Laughing with you, not off you.
Yes.
Important difference.
This is true.
We have a comment from one of our viewers that says, "Great story." So I'm guessing it's about your story, Kanuto. Big smiley faces. So apparently he appreciated your story. And also to all of our other viewers, if you wanna leave a comment about anything that we've talked about, or if you have any questions or anything you want to share, just leave comments on YouTube in the chat area next to the video, and we'll read them up as they come. Yes. Aniasia, while you were out, did you have time to think about if there were any of the stories that you particularly liked?
I think they all were pretty good, and you can relate to many of the stories, or all stories, in fact. What I really like is that most of them evolves. No.
What are you trying to say?
Evolves around?
Yeah, revolves around?
Revolves around, right.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Revolves around self-esteem. And how it can be a positive change to how you feel about yourself and your own body and stuff like that. And that's really cool.
Yeah. For sure. I think we got one from a girl named Lena and one from a girl named Rebecca, or Bexo Cosplay. And both of them were kind of tied into very positive and self-esteem building experiences in cosplay. I think Bexo Cosplay had several stories actually, and I thought it was very hilarious that she broke like 3 needles while she was being filmed by VGTV. These things always happen when you're on film or doing something important or trying to show someone this is how you do it. Things.
Like the day before the con.
Yeah, or the day before the con. Like, yeah. So she was helping a friend sew a fur top for Kitty Cat Katarina from League of Legends, and it was very thick, and it was the first time she was sewing fur, and the needles just kept breaking, and she could, like, feel the presence of her mother hanging over her shoulder, like, what are you doing? Yeah, so that was a pretty stressful experience for her, it seems. But she also talked about how she met Krix Design at the Gathering in 2014, and how Krix had said, encouraged her to try cosplay, because this was before Bexo had started doing cosplay herself. And that it had, encouraged her to actually begin. So it's nice to see that the cosplay community is very encouraging and, help people to get started when they're insecure and not sure if this is something for them or not.
Maybe you, Kanuto, now have made a new cosplayer. Maybe this 3-year-old will be like the star of cosplay in Norway.
In a couple of years.
Yes.
And me just sitting there like, I made that. I made that happen.
All me, motherfuckers! All me!
I take full creds.
It's completely possible, I guess. Yes. Oh, that reminds me, Bexo's story kind of reminds me of my Steampunk Fairy cosplay before that I brought for Desicon 10. It had wings, and I had made sure that they were sturdy, so I was sure that they were going to hold for the entire day. But on my way to the convention, like right before we were getting on the train, the fucking thing fell off.
Yeah.
Yes, it fell off. And I was like, no, what am I going to do? And we need to get there on time. And I have a film crew following me for a documentary thing. And I was so stressed. So luckily my husband was able to run into a convenience store and buy some super glue. So we just glued those bad boys onto my back and like, they're not going to fall off now.
Always happens if you're on camera or doing something important.
Mm-hmm.
Every time.
Yeah. Every time. This is the cosplay curse. There's always something you have to fix last minute.
The same thing happened to me when I was in London, and we were going to be filmed by Shades On production in our Witcher 3 costumes, and of course my ankh fell off this necklace.
Yes.
So I lacked that piece, and of course someone who looked at one of my pictures on my Facebook page noticed that it was gone.
Of course. So you got that annoying comment like, this cosplay isn't exactly correct because you're missing a piece of her jewelry, and it's like, I know
It fell off.
Not my face, not my story.
You could just, do a copy-paste thing with paint.
Yeah. I mean, you could. It's
I had
possible.
someone do that to one of my costumes, where they basically took a picture of Thorin, and they put it into paint, and they drew on their own eyebrows, and then posted it back on my cosplay page, like, nice cosplay, bro, but you forgot something.
Mean and rude.
No, it was amazing, and I love those pictures. It's like this person actually comes back once in a while whenever I'm complaining about like when my dog ate my nose, or like, and then they drew like my dog in an infinity sign eating itself, like wow, and amazing.
Wow.
Just I think it's great humor, and I just encourage stuff like that because that's like, no, yeah.
Well, it is funny. I'll give it that. But as long as it's not meant to be, malicious, I suppose.
Yeah.
Then it's okay if it's all for fun. But if someone did it like, I'll show you what you did wrong kind of thing, that's not okay.
Yeah, no, people usually, I feel, do that with words. They just write everything they
Yeah.
feel. But very few people actually like make an image like this.
Mm.
Just
That takes dedication.
yes,
This
it
is
did.
true.
But if you actually can make someone dislike you so much to, draw something for you, then at least you've made an impact.
Mm. At least. I mean, that's kind of what they mean with all publicity is good publicity, you know? Because as long as people have an opinion about you, it's good. It's when people don't care, that's bad.
True.
When they're like me.
Hmm.
So you should just take hating as a compliment, I guess. Not that I'm particularly good at it at all. I have to apologize to people for the quality of my camera. It's been acting up lately, so it kind of unfocuses or zooms in or out on its own accord, so I don't know what to do about it. So I'm going to be replacing it soon.
Yep.
As soon as I can afford a proper new one. Yeah.
Until then, you can just say you're cosplaying a cloud.
Yes, I'm a blurrier. I have no sense of self. I don't know who I am.
The new theme for your camera is 8-bit.
Yes, something like that. Let's see if I can just stupid camera. No, it's not gonna start behaving, so we'll just have to leave it at that. Okay.
We also had a story from a girl named Lena.
Yes. She was cosplaying a demon from what was the movie?
The Mortal Instrument.
Yeah. Why don't you talk about that one?
She and a friend, I believe, were cosplaying demons for a movie premiere in Fredrikstad for the movie The Mortal Instrument. I have not seen that movie, but she were there at the premiere as a cosplayer. And they were, taking pictures with people going to the movie, and they got to see the actors and the director and other people who had worked with it, and which they thought was really, really cool. The thing is that they did not actually have tickets for the movie. So when everybody had gone into the cinema, they were just standing outside, just hanging. And I believe some of the actors came out, or the director or something, and they actually got tickets because they were like, "What? Aren't you going inside to see the movie?" They were like, "No, sorry, we're just here to, be cosplayers and stuff like that." But then they got tickets and they got to see the movie and they got to meet some of the actors, and one of the actors were like, "Hey, can I take a picture with you two? You two are cool." And they were like, "Yes." All in all, they had like this really cool evening, feeling like superstars, which is quite cool for just a normal person to experience.
Yeah, I mean, they got to be on like the red carpet and be photographed and talk to fans and talk to actors and like VIP guests and stuff. So I think that's pretty cool that cosplay can give you that kind of different experience.
Yes.
The last one I think I want to bring up is Avin. He had a story about a Link cosplay that he made, and I just think that this story just really shows dedication to a project.
Yes, and most of you out there would know him as the Friendly Viking.
Yes, the Friendly Viking, that's his cosplay name. And so he had this idea of a Link cosplay in his head for like 2 years. And then suddenly he got a hold of some old leather suitcases and decided, you know what, I'm just gonna start doing this Link. He had this elaborate story in his head, and he made a 2-meter long Viggoron sword. He remade a Hylian shield. He made riding boots from scratch to fit the costume, and just really went to town. And he finished just in time for GigaCon. And he entered into the cosplay competition and won 3rd place. And the reason why he won, according to the judges, was that they were so impressed by his dedication to backstory. So all of that just 2-year-long project that had been in his head and suddenly came to fruition and paid off. I think that's a nice story about, how originality and your own concepts can get you far.
Maybe we should try to get a hold of him to talk about how he made his Link, so we can start planning our Link.
Yeah, that would be nice. Since we're planning on doing like a group cosplay with the different colors of Link. That would be very cool.
And also, I think first place for that GigaCon was Captain Sabretooth, only done by the
Fuzzy Teddy in.
Yes, yes. That's a really great costume, though, and a lot of gold trimming.
Oh yes, I've actually met another Captain Sabretooth at Desicon Fantasy this year, so he is a really, really big character here in Norway.
Yeah, definitely. I just think it's really awesome that we actually have Norwegian characters that people want to cosplay. Because anyone who is Norwegian knows that the Norwegian film industry has had a really bad reputation ever since the 70s. We have not been very good on marketing or hyping or merchandising at all, so there is very little hype about anything in up until recently. We're getting a lot better at it now. So.
But I still think that most Norwegian films, the characters looks like normal people. So
yeah. It's kind of hard to be recognized.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a part of the problem also, is that a lot of like the costume movies that are made in Norway are for kids. It's like Reisen til julestjernen eller Julekongen, or Julenatt I Blåfjell,
You're all about Christmas now.
Yeah, all about Christmas. But most of those costume movies are like Christmas movies or like adventure movies for children.
That's because they save up all of the costume budget just for Christmas.
Yep, it sure seems that way. And not that there's anything bad about that. I'm very glad that there is, quality films out there for children in Norway, but it makes it kind of hard for Norwegian adult cosplayers to cosplay something from a slightly more grown-up genre, I suppose.
There's a lot of cool Norwegian gaming development going on, though, so we do have a lot of characters to pick from there.
Mm. Yeah, I think there are a lot of indie studios that would be very fun to cosplay from. There are a lot of games coming out and that have also already been released that would be very interesting to work on.
I actually won a copy of The Shadow Puppeteer from when I was at Spill Expo. I haven't tried it yet because I haven't had the time, but I am definitely going to play that game.
Mm. No, Shadow Puppeteer has an interesting concept, so everyone who hasn't tried it yet should definitely look at a demo or something. It's by Sarepta Studios, and it's kind of a co-op game where you play a boy and his shadow, and the shadow has to help the boy to get through the levels, and vice versa. It's a very cute game and very child-friendly, but also challenging enough that adults won't find it boring. Yeah, so that's my review. Check out Sarepta Studio and Shadow Puppeteer.
Good tip.
Yes, and also D-Pad Studios will be releasing a game called Owl Boy, which will be next year, like after New Year sometime, and I'm really looking forward to that. It's like a 2D open world adventure game inspired by Zelda, and I think like old school gamers will find it really funny. Really interesting. I'm all about games right now, so sorry for the geek out.
It's okay.
It's okay. So do you guys have any other cosplay stories that you want to talk about before we start going into the last part of the show?
I'm trying to find out if I have any of my own. I had a really, really good time at Game Expo because I went alone on Friday, with no one with me in cosplay. It was kind of scary, but I kind of figured out that I'm gonna go and I'm gonna walk around. If it's boring, I'm gonna go home, and if I have a good time, I'm gonna stay. So I didn't really have any expectations. And then I met some cosplayers that I've met before, but I don't really know them. And I ended up hanging with them for some hours, and it was really, really fun. And I got to know them better, and we actually, um, and I actually kind of witnessed Ingrid Beast and Teresa Tai making up this awesome serenade for the Nordic garrison, and it was really, really awesome to just see them, singing to these stormtroopers and snowtroopers and other Siths, and they actually kind of lowered their weapons because their songs were so amazing. And I ended up having this really, really fantastic cosplay day, which I really didn't think.
Yeah, and also this is a very big thing for you because you're scared of going to these events by yourself.
I'm not really scared about going to the events, but it's just that I don't like the other people who's there.
Like people in general. Yeah.
I like them, but they make me nervous.
Yes. Well, people make you nervous, and that's why it's scary to go by yourself because you have no safety net to fall back on. You actually have to talk to people or spend the day completely by yourself.
Yes.
So it's a big challenge, definitely. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. I was chosen as cosplayer of the month for November by Cosplay Norway.
Congratulations!
Yeah, and I was really taken aback when they sent me an email first, like, "Hey, would you have the time to answer some questions? We were wondering if you would like to be cosplayer of the month." And I'm like, "Are you sure you sent this to the right person?" Yeah, sure, I can do that. That would be awesome. Because I was so taken aback because I did not expect that because I only started like a year ago and I don't really see my cosplays as being, super awesome or anything. I think they're okay. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. But so I was really, really honored. And one of the reasons why they chose me was apparently because they think I do good things for the cosplay community because of the CosCast and the blogging and stuff. And it just felt really, really nice to be seen and to be appreciated. Because I do this for fun, but it's a lot of work, and it's really nice to have someone validate my efforts. So thank you so much, Cosplay Norway, for choosing me.
I think you deserve it.
Me too.
It's very sweet of you. So let's move on before I'm blushing here, and I'm very awkward and uncomfortable at the moment. This is too much tooting of my own horn for my comfort zone.
The proper Norwegian way.
The proper Norwegian way, yes. Shall not believe that you are better than anyone else. No, thanks. I don't have that problem. Not at all. No, if anything, I think less of myself than others, so...
That's not a way to go about it.
No, it's not a way to go,
awesome.
But I have issues. I've been to therapy for this, so...
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Let's not get into that on the air. That could take a while.
And we're definitely going over time. God.
Yes.
That's like a three-parter in itself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We actually, Aniasya and her boyfriend were visiting us yesterday for dinner, and we talked a little bit about psychiatry and mental issues and stuff like that. So it was very interesting. We had a very good dinner conversation, like adults.
Yes.
Glad I wasn't there.
It was very good. Time flied by very quickly. Before we knew it, we had been sitting there eating, gaming, and talking for 6 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess at least I know how to serve people dinner. That's good. You didn't starve.
No.
Not at all. It was also cake.
Yeah, yes. pixie dust always serves when you go to her house. So you should just come unannounced, knock on her door, and be like, "Hey, do you have some cake?" And she's like, "Yeah, I do."
And if I don't, I'll just make it.
Hello, I traveled 8 hours to be here. Where's the cake?
Yeah. And she's very good at making mojitos.
Oh, cake and mojitos. That sounds wrong in my ears.
Oh, you make me sound like a drunk housewife.
Well,
It's
you
like-
are,
Bored
Yeah.
drunk housewife.
aren't you? What am I missing?
I wouldn't say bored, but drunk housewife kind of rings a bell. No, I don't drink. I never drink really. Only when I have you guys over, and that's not enough. You should be
Every
here more
day,
often.
all
should be here
hours
more
of
often.
the week.
Shh. No, seriously. But yeah, let's move on to our final column of the day, or segment rather, which is geekery. So let's talk a little bit about how we read or watched or gamed anything interesting or fun during the past week.
Yes and no. The week started rather horribly, to be honest. On Monday, I gamed after work, and then we had to go to the store to pick up some stuff, and I managed to update my PlayStation 4. Should never have done that, because after that, everything just crashed. It was horrible. I tried to play Dragon Age, and I got the first screen. When I just pressed the first button, nothing happened. The music just continued and continued and continued and continued, but the next picture didn't come up and you couldn't press any buttons. And I was like, no! All I want to do is play Dragon Age Inquisition. I don't want to do anything else. And it was too late to call support. And I tried to Google my problem, and I tried some different things, but nothing really worked. So I had to wait for the next day. Next day, I finished work around a little bit over 5, so I had to hurry home to so I could call support, which closed at 6. I was inside my apartment 2 minutes to 6. 2 minutes. And then it was really hard to find their telephone number on their internet site. So I used 2 minutes to find the number, and I called, and I was too late.
No.
I tried to Google my problem even more, and I tried to send them messages on Facebook and on email, but of course they didn't answer until the next day. So I was kind of sour, and all the day was kind of ruined.
Yeah, you
So-
were having like a gaming
Gaming apps.
yeah.
No,
abstinence. Yeah.
yeah, but it was just really irritating to try to fix the problem, and then it didn't work. So I tried one thing, and that was deleting the update for the game, which kind of worked, but then I couldn't continue on my previous load. So I was like, okay, I'll just start over. And then the frame just started freezing, so I couldn't press any buttons at all. And I was like, okay, I'm not meant to play this game at all. And then on Saturday, I actually had the time to try to fix it, and I managed to call the support on Friday, but I didn't have time to play it on Friday. But on Saturday, I had an hour to try to fix my problem. I had gotten a recipe on how to do this, and it worked.
Yay!
It worked.
Yay.
So today, I finally got to be a geek and just play all day long.
Hashtag gamer problems.
Hashtag so lucky and so happy. I don't even know where to put myself.
Yeah, I can relate to this feeling when the only thing you want to do is just relax and just play your fucking game, and then no, that's not happening.
I want to play my game. I do not want to watch 2.5 Men on the television.
No.
So, Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. No, you have my sympathies. I'm really, really glad that that you've got it fixed.
Me too. And I'm so happy that I got to continue my load and not start over.
Oh, I pretty much had a horrible week. I don't remember which day this was. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. But I was going home, and my way home takes about an hour, hour and a half, depending. But the trains had stopped. No trains were going. I spent 4.5 hours trying to get home.
Mm.
And by the end of that day, I was so tired. I had had a panic attack. So I had to go into a public bathroom and lock myself into a toilet and cry because I was so tired. I'm not kidding.
I'm sorry.
And the worst part of it you had to pay to get into the bathroom. So I was like standing trying to hold my tears back and like fuck. So I pulled out my card and like paid for the fucking 10 krona that it cost to get into the bathroom, and I'm like, oh! And I went in there, I just sat down on the toilet and I was just like and it was so horrible. It was the worst day I've had all year long. I was so tired and sick and exhausted, and wow, it was just the worst day.
I feel
So yeah,
I
so
feel
and exams and homework and moving stuff and blah 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 blah, everything on top of each other. So I have been repressing my anger and my emotions by gaming and making food.
cake.
Cake.
And there's where the mojitos come in.
Yes, this is where the mojitos come in. It was very nice to have Anastasia over and have someone to talk to and just be social and relax and stuff. So, yeah.
At least the week ended well for both of us.
Yes, at least. I think I've gamed like 6 hours today, just straight Witcher 3, just taking my resentment out on monsters.
Yeah.
It's healthy. Very
Talk
healthy.
to the trolls. That is my favorite part. Talking
yeah.
to trolls.
You're so funny.
I love them. They are the best. Especially that one that gives you like the head of an elf, and it's like, here, you deserve a reward. Have this head.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I have not decided what to do with this yet.
So I assume that means you've been gaming Witcher 3 this week as well.
Actually, yesterday, someone tried to give me the game Until Dawn, and I was like, yeah, no, that's cool and all, but I don't have a PlayStation 4. And after hearing this conversation, I don't know if I want one.
Everything worked fine, though. I didn't lose any saves or anything. It was really easy to actually figure out the problem once I just got a hold of the support. It was my fault that I have weird working hours. So.
And our PlayStation 4 works fine too as well, although I play on the computer, but my husband has been playing Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which I gave him for his birthday, because he turned 30 on Friday. So he's been gaming that all weekend.
But yeah, no, so I tried that. I don't think it's going good, but let's see, I've been out there for 3 or 4 hours, and yet I've only killed one person off, so that's a start.
Until Dawn, is that like a horror
Yeah,
type?
it's a horror game. You're supposed to survive until dawn with as many people as possible. Supposedly you can get everyone out of there, but clearly that's not the way I'm going.
Yeah, that's too hard.
And the worst part is, like, I'm sitting there gaming and I'm like, when someone actually like snatches someone and drags them out in the snow, and I'm like, who cares? You were a bitch anyway. I'm not going there. He like grabs his gun and he's like, I gotta save her, and I'm like, how about we go home?
Yeah.
You're like survival of the fittest.
Yeah. Screw you guys, I'm gonna live.
Yeah, it's like the entire plot is just stupid because it's the anniversary of like when some guy's sisters died. So it's like, how do we celebrate the anniversary of when they died? We travel back to where they died mysteriously and was never really concluded. Some thought it even was murder.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a good idea.
Without,
This sounds exactly like every horror movie in the entire world, and I'm like,
yeah,
and that's like the main reason why I find myself going, well, I would never be in a horror movie because I actually think like a little beyond that. Because when people go, hey, we should totally do that, I would go like, yeah, or how about we just don't?
Yeah, how about
well,
no?
I had an experience like that a few weeks ago.
Oh, really?
I'm a part of a group called Norwegian Ghost Hunters, so we actually go out and at haunted locations trying to relive people's experiences. And we kind of set up cameras and sound equipment everywhere just to try to document stuff.
Ghostbusters!
Yeah. So we were supposed to be 6 people. One didn't have, and there were really stormy and windy and dark. We were in the middle of nowhere. We had 2 cars. One of the cars broke down, so we lost one member because she had to drive back and get help. And then we drove up this really, really narrow road, and it was up in absolutely nowhere, completely pitch dark, up on some kind of mountainside, and we were supposed to go to this World War II fort built underground by Nazis.
Oh yeah, that sounds like the start of a horror movie.
Dead Snow!
Yeah, dead snow right there. The
So in the
zombies
car,
come out.
in the car up to the fort, we were like, okay, now we're 4 people. We lost 2. This is like the start of a horror movie. Every bone in my body is saying, turn around, go home. And I was like, no, I'm gonna hunt some ghosts, bitches. Nothing bad happened.
No.
So,
See, that's why this wouldn't sell as a good horror.
I know.
They
But
went
I-
to the Nazi bunker and then they went home. The end.
I am missing like at least 2 sensible characters in every horror movie just to add like sort of like a humorous element. Just being like when someone is like, let's split up or do all the stupid shit, they just go, yeah,
Really?
okay, we are gonna go because we need logical thinking people and we're gonna build like a hideout and we're gonna practice sniping. So yeah.
Good luck to you guys. I mean, I think I could if you give me a gun, I'm a pretty decent fellow to have during an apocalypse because I know how to shoot. But I'm really, really slow, so if there's any running involved, my asthma will kill me. So I would be the sniper on the roof, definitely.
Yeah,
You're the camper.
Yeah. Also, we have a question. Øystein Statskleiv wants to know, what bunker was this?
Fjellfestning. It's
Fjellfestning?
Fjellfestning, just outside of Bergen. It's a really, really cool place. It's you have to go down really far underground, and there used to be like this huge cannon there, and it's just amazing. It's
You say
just
awesome,
meters
I
and
say
meters.
creepy.
Meters and of tunnels. It just never ends. You can really get lost down there.
Yeah, as I said, you say awesome, I say creepy.
I say awesome.
Yeah.
But like, if in the order for something to be haunted, doesn't that like need someone who sort of died there? Is there proof that someone did, or?
There's some people who have died there, but no, not necessarily. That's no one really knows how ghosts work, or if there are ghosts at all.
Like
so.
a spiritual hotspot or something that
Yeah.
draws
Or like-
those to them.
Yeah, like
But
some
there can
people
be
attract ghosts.
That
Like,
does not necessarily have to be Nazi ghosts. That
Yeah.
just decided that a bunker. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good
I get to be alone. No one's gonna bother me in a bunker on the top of a mountain.
In the area around there was this guy walking his dog, and he accidentally stepped on a mine. So it could be this local dude just walking his dog also. So who knows?
Yeah. So yeah,
Like,
be
walk in the
careful.
halls and be like, well, My day was shit.
I wonder what happened to the dog.
Around home, probably. I don't know. This happened a lot of years ago.
Okay, but moving on. Eniasia, what have you done this week?
Well, kind of told a little bit about it. I have been watching on Crunchyroll this week. Me and my boyfriend were watching Haikyuu. It's very fun. It's the very popular series about volleyball.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I know that?
It's very funny show. And I've started watching Bleach. I'm in season 3 now, I think.
I like Bleach, but there are a lot of fillers.
Yeah, I know. It's just like Naruto. So, but it's okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I also watched the first episode of Jessica Jones, the new Marvel series on Netflix.
Ooh.
And I like it, so I think I'll be watching the rest of the season too. It's kind of grim and dark, and she's clearly an alcoholic. So what's
Just
not to love?
something for you.
When you live in Hell's Kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, everyone who lives in Hell's Kitchen is probably an alcoholic. So.
Probably.
Except Daredevil.
Yeah, but he's blind. He's got his own big issues.
He's got his own issues to deal with. Okay.
I saw there has been a pilot episode of a series called Lucifer that will come out next year. If you guys haven't seen it, but have like the ability to joke about a character such as Lucifer, I really recommend it because it's amazing. Like even there are little subtle details such as like basically the series is about that Lucifer has retired from hell and moved to a flat in Los Angeles. And he's now running a nightclub.
I love this already. I need to watch it.
And basically a murder is committed and Lucifer suddenly then joins forces with a policewoman. So now they are solving crime.
What?
It's actually a really funny concept. And there are really funny, subtle little details, such as like on his car, the plate just says "fallen" and the number 1. So I'm like, yeah, no, that's actually clever. And like he has so many jokes about like how he is Lucifer. When like people ask him like, yeah, what's your name? It's Lucifer Morningstar. Oh, is that like a performer's name? And he's like, God given, I'm afraid. He has like jokes like that, and it's really funny, and we like it a lot, and we're looking really forward to get the entire season, not just pilot episode.
Oh yeah, I'm watching this seriously. I have to. Where is this pilot?
You just look for it online. It is several places. I think it was shown on Comic-Con or something, where basically like they were going to show this as a series that is coming and see if people were interested. And the first episode is really, really good. We like it a lot.
Well, I will have to try to watch this. Anything more you want to say before we wrap it up?
Nope.
No. Okay, cool. I think we're just going to have to end it there because, as usual, we are over time again. This happens when one is having too much fun. It's a problem. We have issues. Okay, so before we go, Kanuto, where can people find you on the internet?
They can find me at Kanuto Cosplay on Facebook.
Yes, very easy. You guys can find the CosCast on Facebook at facebook.com/CosCast, or you can just search for the CosCast on Facebook and you'll find us.
Yes.
You can find me at Pixie Dust Cosplay on Facebook. And you can find my co-hosts under Annabella Cosplay and Eniasia Cosplay on Facebook.
Yay!
Yay! So yeah, follow us there. We post news, fun stuff all the time, and we're going to be trying to doing some challenges in the future. So there will be kind of small videos with fun stuff also appearing.
We are also accepting challenges from you guys. So if you have anything fun that you want to see us trying out, then just send us a request and we'll try to do it if we dare.
Pajamas.
Because we're pushing our boundaries here, she said anxiously.
Nervously.
Yes. Okay. So, thank you all for watching, and we will be back next week with episode 34. Not quite sure who we are going to book for that episode, so stay tuned. We will announce it during the week.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's it for this time. Thank you, Kanuto, so much for joining us.
No problem.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Ha det!
Hadi.
Ha det bra.